The story begins by showing a couple in an intimate moment between our protagonist and her romantic partner. Her name is Glinda, and she says she woke up shocked after realizing she had been transported to another world. Because the last thing she remembers is spending the night exhaustively working on something important. And not only that, she was also inside the body of a beast girl named Shay. Meanwhile, the young man on top of her kept calling her by that name, Shay, saying she was truly shameless for forcing him to get excited by using a flower with aphrodisiac properties. But even if she used that, he still would not become her mate. While the young man was speaking, she was still confused about what was happening. Our protagonist's memories reveal that she had been transported to the beast world, and that she was inside the body of a beast girl who felt miserable and had already thought several times about giving up on everything. And the other women in her village mocked her, saying no man in the village would ever dare become her mate, and that she should be ashamed of herself. But Shay would never truly have the courage to give up, and the other women knew that. That was why they kept provoking her. In the memories, Glinda knows that Shay had even thought about ending everything by eating poisonous mushrooms, but deep down, she knew that was not what she truly wanted. The young woman wakes up in bed screaming, revealing that everything she had seen and heard were fragments of the original owner's memories, or rather, memories that had merged together into a nightmare. She wonders how someone from the 21st century could possibly deal with all that confusion. Suddenly, someone opens the door to our protagonist's house and says that a young man named Tigreon is heading to the land of divine punishments, and that the young woman should go there and convince him not to do that. A place where every beast man can go to repent for his sins and purify himself. Because a special kind of flower grows there, one that can be harvested and used for the remission of the worst sins, with the help of the beast god, of course. Meanwhile, the tribe's residents tried to persuade the young man not to go to the sacred place. After all, everyone believed that Shay was the one at fault for what happened, not him. So he had no sins to atone for, and there was a chance he might never return from the sacred place. An older woman begged him not to go, because he was the strongest male in the tribe, and if he died there, they would not know what would happen to the tribe. But he says he will not marry Shay, and that his decision has already been made. Then, our protagonist appears, and asks who allowed him to go to the land of punishments. The girl notices how handsome the young man is, and now she understands why the original owner of the body she is inhabiting threatened to give up on everything if he left. The guy is breathtakingly gorgeous. The red-haired young woman steps in and asks if Glinda is satisfied now, since our protagonist is supposedly the cause of this entire situation, but she fires back at the redhead, asking what right she had to interfere in any of this. The red-haired girl says Glinda has a lot of nerve acting that way. After stealing the red-haired girl's mate, Glinda replies by saying the young man belongs to her, not to the redhead. And the redhead's friend says that is not true, that the young man would rather go away forever than stay with Glinda. The older woman steps in and asks everyone to stop arguing, and tells Glinda to go convince the young man not to leave the tribe. But Tigreon asks the elder not to insist, because he is not going to marry the girl. And the bear girl reacts by asking who told him that she wanted to get married, and to him of all people. But he asked whether that was not the reason she had tried to give up on everything twice. To which the girl responds that it is all in the past, and that she has already gotten over everything. And she finishes by telling the young man that he does not need to go to the land of punishment, nor does he need to marry her, because she does not want him anymore. Unable to believe what he is hearing, he asks what her plan is now, and tells her to be clear, otherwise he will leave anyway. Glinda simply replies that she was tired of him, and that the situation was not that bad after all. Because if he was willing to go that far just to stay away from her, then he should feel free from her and go live his own life. Surprised by everything he hears from the young woman, he asks if she is crying. The girl notices tears falling, but concludes they must be the lingering emotions of the body's former owner. And it is worth reinforcing this here. Shay is the original owner of the body, the one who caused the entire situation that made Tigreon want to leave. Glinda is our protagonist, who took over Shay's body. As she leaves, she says goodbye to everyone and tells herself that this was the way she found to put an end to the problem Shay created. Because from that moment on, that body belongs to her. Glinda decides that since she is there, she is going to live everything to the fullest. Entering a cabin, a young woman named Maggie opens the door and congratulates Glinda for finally getting herself out of that situation. Glinda looks at Maggie without really understanding what is going on. Maggie says the girl does not need to worry because even if she cannot win over Ian, the village elders will not force her to marry some other man. The girl realizes that Maggie is Shay's mother, and also realizes that Shay and her mother were not exactly very close. She also knows that Maggie was raised collectively by the village from a very young age and continued to live independently. On the other hand, Maggie lived alongside many partners. Glinda replies that she stopped looking for a mate a long time ago and that she definitely will not marry a man she does not know, so Maggie should not worry about that. Maggie asks what Glinda meant by stopped looking, and says that Glinda will become a woman within half a month and that the tribe did not raise her for nothing. She asks Glinda if she plans to be expelled and live alone in the forest. Shay's mother reminds her that the forest is full of orcs and asks if Glinda wants to become their captive. Glinda becomes furious and asks what Maggie just said. Maggie reminds Glinda that once beastmen become adults, they must go through the marriage ritual within the same year they come of age, and whoever does not go through this ritual ends up being expelled from the tribe. Glinda says to herself that she knew she had forgotten something. Maggie says she chose someone decent among her nephews, and that his name is Mika. Shay's mother says she had to make a huge sacrifice to convince the family to agree to the union between the two of them. Maggie tells Glinda that it would be best for the two of them to meet soon, and that they should use the half-month they have to build a good relationship. Glinda says she is not going to get married. The girl had not even thought about love by that age. She asks Maggie how she expects there to be a marriage with a complete stranger in less than a month. Maggie fires back by saying that Glinda is a valuable female in the tribe that raised her, and that as an adult it is her duty to do the same for future generations. But Glinda maintains her stance that she will not marry anyone, even if the tribe refuses to support her. She asks whether there is no other way to contribute to the tribe. Shay's mother says that producing children strengthens the tribe, and that this is the greatest contribution a female can offer. Suddenly, a tribesman blows a horn. Glinda asks if the meal is being prepared at that moment, and runs outside the house saying that she is going to help the people with the preparations. From afar, Maggie calls Glinda a little brat, and says the girl is making her angry, and says that Glinda has no idea how much thought she put into making the marriage situation easier for the girl who refuses to marry. And finishes by saying that she will bring Mika to eat with the two of them later, and that Glinda will not escape from this. Glinda reflects on how cruel the rules in this world are, and on how other female protagonists transported into manhwas receive special powers, while she is struggling just to survive. But the girl remembers that she still possesses her 21st century knowledge. There is no way she cannot manage in a world of beastmen. The sound of a machine begins playing as it analyzes the fruit species in the area where Glinda is standing. A panel appears in front of her. The girl wonders if that was not the program she spent nights coding back in her real world, and how the program managed to follow her there. The girl notices a small pouch. When she touches it, a window opens showing a miniature version of Glinda wearing the clothes she is using in the beastmen world. She confirms that it is the system she developed, and that even the two items she stored there for testing purposes are still there. If she had known beforehand that she would end up in this situation, she would have made the program's storage capacity infinite, so she could put everything inside it. Although Glinda understood that the artifacts stored there were still better than having nothing at all. According to her memories, it is difficult to survive in the world of the beastmen because there is not enough food. But now that she possessed the entire system, she could follow in Dominique's footsteps and test hundreds of herbs. As she walks deeper into the forest, she encounters an elder from the tribe who is happy to see her. Glinda tells the elder that she has reflected a lot about herself and that she is aware she has done many bad things. So from that moment onward, she decided to be strong and do what is best for the tribe. The elder replies that this is good, as long as she changes a few things, and then says that the meat is almost ready. Glinda replies that she will eat with everyone later. She asks for permission to go somewhere and help take care of the cubs. The older woman replies that she may go. Then, after thinking again, she pays close attention to what Glinda said with a look of concern. Our protagonist finds the red-haired girl who mocked her the other day, and simply sits down, picks up a cub, and says that it is true she is not used to taking care of them, so she hopes the other beast women present there can teach her how to do it. From afar, two beastmen from the tribe observe her, and one of them says that Glinda has changed a lot. The other says that she is full of hot air. Glinda hears the elder telling a young man named Tigreon to hurry up and get rid of the entrails and bones because they need the bamboo bowls free for the grilled meat. The girl then notices a bowl full of meat, and the program analyzes the protein, internal organs, and animal bones. She becomes excited and asks Tigreon where he is going to dump those organs and bones. He asks what is wrong with her. The girl replies that there is nothing wrong, but that she believes it is a waste to throw everything away when it could be delicious. The red-haired beast girl disagrees with Glinda and says those things are not edible, and asks the bear girl if she is making up excuses just to talk to the tiger boy. The protagonist fires back by saying she is not trying to get involved with him again, and adds that the red-haired girl is nobody to claim that entrails are not edible. Melke asks if Glinda thinks she is stupid, because the entrails stink of blood, and there is no meat worth eating left on the bones, and says that if the girl can really make something edible out of those bones, then she can also have all of Melka's leftovers. Glinda simply agrees and says she will remember that offer. Afterward, she asks the elder who was cooking for a monthly supply of entrails. Glinda leaves happily with all the baskets of entrails she could ever want, and says she is excited to receive Melka's next batch of entrails. Melka's friend asks what they are going to do because our protagonist seems very confident about turning the entrails and bones into something delicious. The redhead says she bets the entire situation was just an excuse to have a reason to talk to Ian. She only regrets that Ian fell for Glinda's schemes and agreed to help her carry the baskets of entrails to her house. Melka says she needs to find a way to make the boy hate Glinda. Arriving at the girl's house, the bear girl thanks Ian for helping her carry the baskets filled with entrails and bones. The boy says that he truly did not know whether she had thought things through when she claimed she could make something delicious out of entrails, but he admires the girl's courage for taking that stance and proving herself right. Glinda is surprised by what the young man says. Glinda thanks him for believing in her potential. Meanwhile, Glinda's neighbor leaves her house and says that spring is such a huge problem, and that only a few days have passed, yet so many mushrooms have already grown, so she needs to get rid of them quickly. But before the neighbor can throw the mushrooms away, Glinda steps in and asks her not to do that. After analyzing the mushroom's composition, she confirms that they are edible. Then she asks the neighbor if she can keep the mushrooms. The neighbor replies yes, but warns the girl not to eat them because she believes they are poisonous. Glinda thanks her for the mushrooms and says she will not eat them, even though we know she is about to prepare something delicious with them. Behind a tree, Melka wonders what Glinda is planning to do with the mushrooms. Is she going to eat them? At that moment, Glinda asks Ian if he can help her cut the bones. The boy replies yes and asks what Glinda is going to do with the mushrooms. Glinda says that they are not poisonous and that they go perfectly in a bone broth. Then the girl begins preparing a soup with the bones and entrails she received so happily. While she was tasting the soup, Melka suddenly burst through the doors of the house, accompanied by the elders. The redhead asks everyone to watch as Glinda, in her opinion, is putting herself in danger on purpose. Melka says that the bear girl is a horrible person because first she claims to have forgiven Ian, and now she is supposedly doing the same thing again. She says that even if something happens to her, the young man does not belong to her, and that our protagonist should not try to blame him. Right after that, Maggie hugs Glinda and says she thought the girl had already left all that nonsense behind. Glinda tells Maggie that she is jumping to conclusions. She asks the maternal figure whether it really looked like she was trying to harm herself, especially because the mushrooms are edible. Then one of the tribe's elders tells Glinda that she is very beautiful and should not worry about finding a mate. Nor should she threaten to do something reckless simply because she is single. And if the bear girl disliked being single that much, the elder asks what she would think about her son asking for her hand in marriage. Glinda protests, saying the experienced woman is misunderstanding the situation. The girl says she saw a type of bird feeding on the same kind of mushrooms she used in the recipe, and that they are not poisonous. The young man who is helping Glinda says that he believes her and that she values her own life, and that when the girl was preparing the soup, the meal did not look dangerous at all and smelled very good. The elder agrees that the soup smells good, but still looks at the food with hesitation. Then the young man grabs a bowl and drinks some of the soup in front of everyone present. 10 minutes later, the elder says that the crows have cried out for the 5th time since Ian drank Glinda's soup. She asks how the boy is feeling. He says he feels fine and that the soup is delicious. Glinda becomes happy when she hears Ian's words, especially because she never doubted the soup's quality since she invested so much time and effort into the recipe. Melka then questions whether the supposed mushroom poison might simply need more time to take effect. Displeased with what the red-haired girl said, Ian says that is enough of her nitpicking and asks if she still does not believe the girl cook, even after he drank the soup and nothing happened. He continues by saying that Glinda discovered a new recipe that can be served to everyone in the tribe. Besides proving that the mushrooms were not poisonous, Glinda agrees and begs the elder not to force her into marriage. The older woman does not say it out loud, but concludes that her son would not be happy marrying a strange girl. The elder then looks at her son, Ian, and asks whether he has intentions of marrying the bear girl. The boy replies that he does. Our protagonist tilts her head to the left as she notices something she had never imagined until that moment. Ian is the elder's son, and she wonders why she has no memories of the tribe's males. After everything that happened inside Glinda's house, outside, Ian's mother officially declares the couple matched. Before the girl could protest, Maggie stops her from saying anything and says she is so emotional about everything that she can barely speak. Shay's mother asks Ian if he would like to attend a barbecue at their family home. The boy replies that he would. The answer leaves the girl cook surprised, but she does not say a word because Maggie drags her away from there. At the barbecue, Ian is sitting beside Glinda, who, let us remember, is inhabiting Shay's body. He asks if being in a relationship with him is really that bad. She replies that he does not understand that the entire situation is a huge shock to her. A girl who until now had never even held a man's hand, and who only thinks about advancing her own career. The young man asks if being close to him is really that terrible, and whether the other young man, Tigreon, is truly so much better than him, to the point that she would rather face the worst, just to avoid trying something with someone else. The girl says that is not it at all, and that Ian is an incredible man, but that she herself has a horrible reputation. She asks him in a confident tone if he actually likes her, and that the young man does not need to force any pleasant answer. The boy asks if her reputation is what worries her, and tells the girl not to worry because he is marrying her of his own free will. She becomes incredulous at the young man's response, and he says he is serious, that she is intelligent and noticed the birds feeding on the mushrooms and realized they were edible. Ian thanks Glinda for discovering a new food source for the tribe and says that this food could save many lives in the community. The girl says it was not even something that grand, but he fires back by saying that she has changed a lot and that he appreciates that. Ian continues by saying that he knows she may not like him very much right now, but he will give her time to get used to him. The boy finishes by saying that he hopes she will not reject him as well, and that she gives them a chance to get to know each other. Maggie watches the scene and becomes happy seeing that, apparently, her daughter has accepted the idea of marrying a young man from the tribe, especially the elder's son. Other tribe members enjoy the soup made by Glinda and praise the mushrooms she added to the recipe. One of the people complimenting the soup offered some to Melka. The redhead is angry because she sees herself as the most beautiful woman in the tribe and believes Glinda is trying to steal all the men in the tribe for herself. Tigrean approaches Ian and says he will deal with Glinda's situation personally, and that Ian is a good friend, which is why he will not let him marry a girl he does not love. Ian disagrees with the tiger boy and says that his relationship with Glinda has nothing to do with what happened before. The boy continues by saying that he promised to marry the girl because he likes her. Tigrean is surprised, and Ian says that Glinda has changed and is now a good girl. The girl's future husband tells his companion that he cannot keep denying the girl's changes forever because of things that happened in the distant past. After all, the girl had feelings for the tiger boy in the past, not in the present. Meanwhile, the red-haired girl was still expressing her anger over everything that was happening. One of the boys who admires her approached and told her not to care about the situation because Ian was never particularly gifted at judging other people's character. The green-haired admirer says that he admires Melka very deeply. She responds by asking whether he admires her enough to face any danger for her. The green-haired boy promptly answers yes. When Melka hears the boy's answer, she tells him to come to her house that night. Cutting to another scene, Ian arrives at Glinda's house and gifts her a giant rabbit. The boy says he captured several just like it so she could eat as much as she wanted and become softer and chubbier. Ian's statements leave Glinda unsure of what to think. Inside the house, Ian explains that if beast folk are too thin, they do not survive the winter, which brings food shortages. And that is why everyone eats more and gains extra weight before winter arrives. Next, Ian takes the rabbit from Glinda's hands and says he will handle the animal himself, so the girl does not dirty her hands with blood. The girl protests and tells the young man that there is a way to store food instead of everyone needing to eat until they become fat enough. The boy is surprised by the idea and congratulates the girl for coming up with something brilliant that will revolutionize the way the tribe deals with winter. Ian grabs her by the arm, and the two of them run to tell the elder about the storage idea. Already at the elder's house, the older woman says she is happy to see the girl cook. There, the elder's son says that his mate discovered a food that can be stored for winter. Ian's mother asks what kind of food it is, and the girl replies that it is the mushroom she used to make the soup recipe. The elder reacts to Glinda's answer with suspicion and asks the girl if she is certain the mushrooms are edible, and says that she should know that people from the tribe have lost their lives after eating mushrooms. Glinda fires back by saying that they are edible and can be stored if they are dehydrated, and when it is time to eat them, they only need to be placed in water first. The elder's son responds by defending the girl cook. He says that the girl knows what she is talking about and knows which mushrooms are edible and which are not. Ian says that the soup and the edible mushrooms are an opportunity for the tribe, since other tribes do not want the mushrooms, and that they can send people from their tribe to gather those mushrooms, because even if there are not many of them, they are still valuable. The elder becomes convinced and tells Glinda that she did an excellent job and that she will tell everyone the good news. The young woman says it was nothing, but also mentions that she even knows how to preserve meat. The statement leaves the elder surprised, and she says the girl should not joke about this kind of thing. Glinda says she is not joking and that it is truly possible to do it as long as the meat goes through a process and is stored for the winter. However, the girl remembers that to do this, she will need a lot of salt. And according to Shay's memories, the tribe traded many resources and supplies, which is why salt is even more important than meat. But Ian's mother tells her not to worry, because as long as the girl can truly do what she is saying, she will get all the salt that is necessary. The elder only emphasizes that she will not be able to talk about everything. The three of them discuss there, so that Glinda's reputation within the tribe can be properly protected. Glinda says she understands and that she would like to go into the forest to see if she can find more food. The elder understands and asks why she does not go with Ian. The girl is surprised by the suggestion, but accepts it. Heading into the forest, the couple walks until Ian transforms into an eagle. The girl is shocked by the boy's transformation. He asks her to climb onto his back. The bird boy asks if the girl is holding on tightly. Glinda replies that she is and thinks she cannot believe she is flying on top of an eagle. He asks whether she is enjoying it, and the girl says yes. He then says that he likes Glinda too, and that someone can only ride a beast in their original form if that person is the beast's mate. When Ian asks Glinda if that is the final proof that they are a couple, the girl hesitates and asks if it is too late to get down. When they arrive, the couple admires the entire forest around them. Ian says that they are now at the edge of the beast forest, and that even the bravest male in the tribe would hesitate to go any farther alone. The young man says that perhaps the two of them should search for supplies right there and see if they can find food that can be stored. The girl agrees, and as they begin walking, she is surprised to find a vegetable. She decides to use the device to identify what it is. The device says it is an early stage of a species of bamboo, and that its natural taste is bitter, but the flavor changes and becomes good if the vegetable goes through processing and is then stored. Glinda realizes that they are bamboo shoots and asks Ian for help harvesting some of them. She knows that if they are dehydrated, they can be stored. The young man pulls the shoot from the ground, impressing Glinda with his strength. The girl also finds green onions, which have a strong smell but a pleasant flavor. During their journey, Glinda also finds cassava and tells Ian that it is edible and rich in starch. Further ahead, the two find a nest with large eggs from a local bird, but their joy lasts only a short time when the mother bird arrives and begins clucking defensively to protect the eggs. Realizing that the bird was about to attack the girl, the young man protects her. After all, the bird was enormous. She thanks him and says that was close, that she almost got pecked. Still embraced by the young man, the girl notices that he is looking at her with interest and trying to escape the situation. She steps away and says they already collected everything they needed and that it was time for both of them to return to the village. But the boy says that her cheeks are still red. She disagrees and says she is only frightened. Ian says it is the first time he has seen a female blush the way she did and that she looks adorable like that. She insists that it is not like that and asks him to simply continue heading back to the village with her. Back at the village, the residents are gathered together. Some people claim that a long time has already passed since they ate Glinda's mushroom soup and everything is still fine. The elder, Ian's mother, announces to everyone that the tribe now has a new food source, thanks to the girl. The girl becomes happy when she notices that the people around her are praising her and her accomplishment. One of the people says that because of the discovery, no one in the tribe will ever go hungry again. Happily, Glinda asks those people if she can teach them how to distinguish edible mushrooms from poisonous ones, so that those people can also bring them back whenever they are searching for food in the forest. Pointing toward a basket, she says that all mushrooms with vibrant colors are not edible, and that all mushrooms that are white, pale yellow, and gray are safe. The girl finishes by saying that if anyone is uncertain about whether a mushroom is safe, they should call her so she can help. From afar, she sees a green-haired resident trying to get her attention. The young man asks whether the mushrooms in his basket are edible or not. After analyzing them, she says he can eat them without fear. A little farther away, another villager says that ever since Glinda got over her old feelings, she even seems prettier now, to the point of leaving Melka in the dust, and wonders how Glinda managed to gain the knowledge to recognize which mushrooms are edible and which are not. The boy concludes that the girl must have learned because she knows she is going to marry Ian, and the groom's mother taught her out of decency. Upon hearing that, Melka becomes furious and says that everything would have been hers if the mushroom girl had not been there. And she comes up with a sinister idea. Why not make the girl disappear? After all, at one point she already wanted to give up on everything. Returning to her house, Melka finds Jones, the green-haired boy who asked Glinda to teach him about mushrooms. The red-haired girl reminds the young man that he once said he would face any danger for her. She asks him to confirm that. Without hesitation, the boy says yes, that he loves Melka and therefore would face anything for her. Happy with his response, the red-haired girl asks him to eat a poisonous mushroom. Jones hesitates because he knows it could be fatal for him, but she insists and seduces him to convince him. Right after that, the couple gets close, and the young man says he loves Melka, but the girl only agreed to do all that so he would eat the poisonous mushroom. Elsewhere in the tribe, a woman arrives screaming for help while Glinda continues teaching about mushrooms. The woman begging for help says that Jones was poisoned after eating a mushroom soup he made himself, and that the mushrooms Glinda identified as safe are not edible. The elder and other women from the tribe rush to see how the boy is doing. When they arrive at Melka's house, they find Jones lying down and foaming at the mouth while Melka holds his hand. Glinda looks at the situation and understands that he consumed some kind of poisonous mushroom, and begins wondering what could have happened since the green-haired boy had asked her which mushrooms he should not eat. When the red-haired girl looks at our protagonist, fury fills her eyes, and at the moment Melka was about to attack the mushroom girl, a hand intervenes. Ian asks what Melka thinks she is doing. She justifies the near assault by saying that Glinda and all this mushroom nonsense almost cost Jones his life and that she would make Ian's partner pay for it. The young man fires back by saying that Melka's argument makes no sense since everyone there ate mushrooms and nobody became sick. Besides that, he knows the bear girl explained very clearly which mushrooms were poisonous and which were not. The red-haired girl argues back by saying that perhaps Ian's fiancé simply wanted to harm Jones, and that was why she intentionally misled the green-haired boy. Melka moves past Ian and tells everyone standing behind him that the mushrooms are poisonous and that whoever eats them will fall ill, and that Glinda knows nothing about identifying edible and poisonous mushrooms, so nobody should let themselves be fooled by her. Outside, one of the tribe's girls claims that she feels like she is suffocating, and another begins getting scared because she ate several mushrooms not long ago. The girl who claimed she was suffocating called Glinda a very ugly name, and said she felt stupid for believing the bear girl. Her friend invites her to go throw away the mushrooms before the children eat them too. Meanwhile, Jones manages to turn over and tell everyone that the mushrooms are edible and that everyone can make it through winter if they consume them. Ian then approaches and asks the green-haired young man what happened, and says that the lives of everyone in the tribe depend on that answer, and if it is the wrong answer, it will condemn everyone who lives there. Jones says that he was trying to imitate Glinda and accidentally put a poisonous mushroom into the soup he was preparing while trying to innovate, and that the mushrooms Glinda pointed out to them are edible and safe. Right after that, he apologizes. Glinda approaches and says that the entire situation makes no sense. After all, why would Jones do all of that if he holds no grudge against her? And they barely even know each other. Ian says that the young man may not know Glinda, but he knows Melka very well, and that the day before Melka agreed to marry him once they become adults at the end of the month. After that, Jones confesses that he did all of it for Melka because the red-haired girl dislikes Glinda. Furious, Melka looks at Jones and calls him useless, saying she should have gotten rid of him sooner. Glinda asks the elder if the green-haired young man can still be saved. The tribe leader simply asks both girls to leave the young man alone during his final moments. As they leave Jones's house, Glinda becomes thoughtful and wears a sad expression. Noticing this, Ian tells her that everything will turn out fine. But the girl replies that if she had said the mushrooms were not edible, none of that situation would have happened, and asks whether Jones would have been all right, and that what she did resulted in the young man's fate. Ian comforts his partner, saying that she should not blame herself for what other people chose to do, and that she did the right thing by informing the tribe that not all mushrooms are edible. He also says that Jones did not value his own life, and that is why he ended up in that situation. The elder watches them and tells another girl from the tribe that Glinda is a good girl. She then asks where Melka is. The tribe girl almost answers but stops herself. Meanwhile, Melka is somewhere else, flirting with another male from the community and asking him to help her forget Jones's passing. The boy says that the green-haired young man was a troublemaker and that it is not worth being sad over what happened, and that Melka can also help him figure out how to entertain the guests from the giant tribe. The information catches the redhead by surprise, and she asks if the guests from the other tribe are coming, and when they are arriving, or who exactly is coming. Is Alara coming? The young man asks why the red-haired girl has so many questions. She replies by saying that she is heartbroken over Jones's situation and that Ian now dislikes her, which is why she wants so badly to see Alara, and asks why the young man needs to raise his voice at her so much. The young man stands up and says that the girl keeps mentioning the green-haired boy even during their intimate moments together, and that if she cares about him that much, she should go be with him instead. Furious, the girl wonders why she cannot have a beast man as kind and brave as Ian, or as brave as Tigreon, and she blames Glinda for taking both males away from her, swearing revenge. Later, the red-haired girl enters Jones's house with an angry expression while calling out for him. Maggie, Glinda's mother figure, is taking care of him and says that he whispered Melka's name several times. But the healer thought the red-haired girl would not come to see him. Picking up a bowl of soup, the girl asks Maggie to leave her alone with the sick young man. But first, she asks whether he still has a chance to recover. And Maggie says that he has very little time left and asks the girl to stay beside him. With a tear in her eye, she says she understands and asks to be left alone with the young man, and says that she will take care of him. As soon as the door closes, the girl becomes aggressive and slaps the young man across the face, ordering him to stop pretending to be asleep. He lifts himself slightly and nervously greets the girl. Looking at Jones, she calls him a piece of trash and says he had only one mission: to do what she asked. But, let us be fair, it is not exactly the easiest thing to go through, and the redhead says that deep down she never liked him and was only using him. Shocked and still weak, Jones says he cannot believe what the girl is saying, and that he thought Melka loved him and that they would soon get married. The girl tells him to look at himself in the mirror and says he should be grateful for every moment they shared together, and that he still failed to do what she asked. Every word Melka spoke was like a knife piercing through Jones's body. To keep up the pretense, she begins screaming, asking whether Jones is all right, and whether someone could come inside to help. She finds Arthur, her other partner. He asks what happened. She says that she is sad and frightened because Jones is fading. In tears, the green-haired young man loses consciousness while thinking that his end would have been different. On the day Jones passed away, Melka cried a lot, but the very next day, everyone in the tribe saw her being affectionate with another young man from the tribe. They raised a memorial for the departed and buried him there so he could return to the arms of the gods. Life had to go on. Everyone had to move forward. Everyone except Glinda, who remained trapped by what had happened. Ian asks if she is still thinking about the green-haired boy and says that they are living in a dangerous world. A world where they can be playing with a friend and the next moment he could be taken by a giant beast. The boy says that what happened to Jones was not the worst thing that has ever occurred there and asks her to get used to it because that is simply how things are there. She asks how she could ever get used to something like that when the boy lost his life because of her. We can already see that our protagonist carries a great deal of guilt inside herself. Suddenly, the young man notices the bamboo shoots and asks her to get up and teach him how to dehydrate the vegetables. As she stands up, she trips on a rock and falls against Ian's chest. When she realizes what is happening, her cheeks turn red. Not wanting to waste the opportunity, Ian asks the girl if he can kiss her. He notices that the girl wants to escape from that situation, so he simply tells her that they should eat while the sun is still rising. At another moment, while holding Glinda's hands, Ian says that he respects the girl and her pace. Happily, the girl says they could also focus on preserved entrails and seasoned fruits. And so Glinda decides to cook using the ingredients they collected. She says the dish consists of stir-fried pork intestines and that she used the intestines the young man wanted to throw away. The girl serves the food to the boy, and he asks if the meal is really edible, because the intestines seem to smell a little strange and he had already had a bad experience after eating those fruits. But he tastes it and approves. The girl says she knew he would like it and that if he added the fruits it would taste even better. He asks how she knows so many ways to process food, to which the girl replies that she simply knows. Then he asks the two of them to take the dish so Ian's mother can try it as well. The young man's mother tastes Glinda's food with a smile on her face and says that nobody will ever suffer through the cold season again because of food shortages. The boy praises the intestine recipe made by Glinda. The girl begins believing that the gods themselves destined her to be there. However, she also worries because she knows she cannot tell the people there where she truly came from. That is why she decides to use the story that she was sent by the gods to justify her presence there, which everyone accepted surprisingly quickly. The elder thanks the girl for everything she has done for the tribe, because until then the males of the tribe had to go deep into the forest to hunt, which often resulted in many of them becoming disabled or left with permanent injuries, and many eventually lost hope because they believed they no longer had value. But now that the girl introduced the mushrooms, they can go into the forest to gather food instead and reduce the risks. Glinda became the tribe's heroine because of that. But being the humble person she is, the girl says that she merely shared the knowledge she already had. The young man reminds the girl to talk about the other things they found in the forest. Then the bear girl mentions that she and Ian found many other supplies in the forest that can be stored and eaten later. Surprised, the elder asks if she knows how to preserve other foods as well. The girl says yes and explains that there are two ways to do it. One way is by drying and preserving with salt, just like they did with the mushrooms and bamboo shoots. The other way is by using a much larger amount of salt to make pickled foods and dried meat. Excited, Ian's mother says that none of that will be a problem as long as the girl can preserve the food, and that the tribe will trade some resources for a generous amount of salt once the giant beast tribe arrives. Ian's mother is named Carmelia, and she is also the elder and chief of the tribe. She asks her son to take the food that still needs salt for preservation into the cave while they wait for the salt to arrive. Afterward, the three of them stand before the cave where the food is stored. Surprised, Glinda asks whose wonderful idea it was to build an ice reservoir inside the cave. The elder says the idea came from the former priest, and that it is very cold inside there, and that the ice does not melt easily, which is why some foods can be stored until autumn. During autumn, they remove the excess water, and when winter arrives, that same water is turned into blocks of ice. But while listening to the explanation, Glinda notices a basket and asks to inspect it. Watching from afar, the red-haired girl looks at Glinda with anger and says that everyone has started liking the girl a lot, and that the tribe chief helps Glinda without even questioning her. Because of that, she cannot trust anyone from the lake tribe. Melky thinks that the giant beast tribe will be her way out of this situation. Inside the cave, Glinda notices that the basket contains a generous amount of fennel, a plant high in sugar and starch content, sweet and edible. She asks the tribe chief how much fennel they have stored. The tribe chief says that it is currently fennel season, but because the herb spoils easily, they did not harvest much of it, and explains that in order to harvest it, they need to go to the mountains to gather the softer roots, and that someone harvested some there and brought it back to the cave. Glinda then asks the chief to have the tribe gather more fennel because it is a treasure. She says that fennel can be used to refine sugar, and that the sugar can be stored for a long time and consumed by pregnant women and babies. Likewise, the soft roots can be processed to produce noodles. Melky overhears everything from afar and decides to write it all down to bring to the giant beast tribe. But as she is leaving, she accidentally steps on a branch. Ian hears it and asks who is there. Upon hearing the question, the red-haired girl goes on alert and realizes she needs to leave quickly. But the boy soon notices her presence and asks what she is doing there. She replies that she came to fulfill her promise. The boy asks what promise she is talking about. The redhead replies that it is about the salt she promised Glinda, after losing the bet about whether the girl could make something delicious with the carcasses she received. In her mind, she thanks herself for grabbing that salt beforehand, because otherwise she would not have had any good excuse to give in that situation. As she says goodbye to the boy, she thinks that she needs to hurry and warn the giant beast tribe about everything she overheard. The girl leaves, making Ian wonder to himself why Melky went through the trouble of going all the way there just to deliver salt, and why she did not simply go to his partner's cabin instead. In the background, Ian's mother tells the girl that she tried preserving meat the way she recommended. Then Glinda follows the elder into the cave where the meat is stored. The older woman asks the girl whether the stored meat will truly preserve properly. At that moment, Glinda recommends exposing the meat to sunlight so it dehydrates and can be stored for much longer. As they begin doing what the girl suggested, the elder sees that it is working and says she will recommend the process to the tribe's boys, so they can hunt more and preserve the meat they are unable to finish eating. And the girl asks Carmelia not to forget about the fennel. The elder calls Glinda farther into the cave and asks how the girl knows so much about food. The girl says that she had a very difficult period and lost consciousness, and that when she awoke, it was as though the gods had granted her knowledge as a reward. When she woke up, she already possessed all that knowledge. Upon hearing that, the elder becomes emotional and says she knew the gods were watching over the tribe, even if silently. She thanks the girl for bringing hope and food to everyone, and says she is very happy with everything that is happening. Glinda feels a weight in her heart for knowing she had to invent all of that just to hide her true origins. The elder strokes the girl's head and says she does not need to apologize and that she has done a great job, but that outside the tribe's territory, it is dangerous. Because of that, the girl should remain there while the chief sends some of the tribe's males to gather more supplies. The girl agrees because she also knows she will be very busy teaching everyone how to process sugar and starch. Relieved, Ian's mother says it is wonderful to have the girl there, and to know that the girl will not be going out with the harvesting team. At another moment, a group of young people gathers to see what was harvested. Team 1 collected 3 baskets of fennel and 5 baskets of sweet potatoes. The boy from the other team says that his team collected even more things. Glinda begins cooking something while the other tribe members watch her with admiration. Several males from the tribe, both young and old, stared at the girl while she cooked. One of the older men asked what she was cooking that smelled so good. She replies that she is cooking entrails. The answer leaves the young men in disbelief. One of them asks how entrails can smell so good when they are supposed to stink. Another replies that if the bear girl can make a delicious soup out of animal bones, then she can definitely turn smelly entrails into a delicious dish. The young men taste the dish and even start arguing over who gets to eat next. From afar, Glinda's rival watches the whole situation with anger. She turns to the boy she is in a relationship with and asks whether he has entrails, and orders him to clean them because she is going to make a recipe even tastier than Glinda's. Melky is determined to copy the recipe, but improve it so it becomes superior. Near the lake, she watches her partner trying to wash the entrails and asks if he really knows how to do that. On the other side of the river, 2 young girls from the tribe wonder what is going on. The blue-haired girl says it must be another one of Melky's tricks, since the red-haired girl has been acting strangely ever since Jones passed away. The couple is trying to cook the entrails. But was the cleaning process successful? She keeps complaining non-stop, and because of that, he becomes angry and kicks the cauldron filled with entrails, saying that he is not skilled at cooking but at hunting, and that Melka only ever talks badly about Glinda, while he can see the kindness in her and knows she did everything to help the tribe. The redhead becomes shocked and asks how he dares to raise his voice at her. He leaves without caring about what the red-haired girl says. And one of the girls on the other side of the river comments on how arrogant Melka is for believing she is the prettiest young woman in the tribe. Her friend agrees and notices that the redhead is the complete opposite of Glinda and Ian, a well-matched couple. In another scene, Ian says that Glinda is a genius and that she does effortlessly everything that would be extremely difficult for other people. He grabs her by the arms happily. From afar, Tigrean watches the happy couple celebrating together. To him, it is as if she were a completely different person from the one she used to be when she went through such a difficult time a long time ago, and that even Ian had changed as well. But the tiger boy scolds himself for feeling as though he is radiating jealousy. He thinks he should be happy for the couple and for his friend. At another moment, a group of young men is stirring a boiling cauldron full of fennel leaves. One of them asks if they need to keep stirring the boiled leaves so they continue cooking until the sugar can be extracted. Glinda confirms it, and he says it should work even though his experience is only with producing brown sugar. Upon hearing that, the girl becomes worried because she knows there are not enough tools to process everything the way it should ideally be done. But she knows there is a solution and already starts thinking about how the starch extraction from the harvested roots will be carried out. Ian asks the girl why she is deep in thought, and whether there is anything capable of discouraging her. She quickly remembers that their ancestors invented bamboo strips, which can be used for filtration. Smiling, she asks the boy to help her with a mission. He asks if the mission consists of turning the bamboo into strips and then into baskets that will be used for filtration. She says yes, and Ian accidentally breaks the piece of bamboo and becomes frustrated. Glinda asks whether he has knives. Then she immediately realizes that the question makes no sense because she is in a world that exists before the age of metals. But she remembers that she placed a dagger inside her backpack and that it would be perfect for making bamboo strips. The young woman asks him to try using the dagger. After successfully using it, he asks the girl what kind of tool that is. She replies by saying that it is a dagger. Glinda knows the dagger is the result of refined iron, and that the raw material can only be processed under extremely high temperatures, something impossible during the era she currently lives in. The boy says that no wild beast would dare attack the tribe's people if every one of them carried a dagger like that. But that it did not matter because the claws they already possessed were enough, and the two of them begin discussing how the baskets could be made. Returning to the fennel, the tribe chief asks whether Glinda managed to make all the necessary tools. Ian's mother becomes happy and tells the two of them that everyone needs to do everything possible to process all the food within 3 days. Glinda asks why the chief is in such a hurry and whether it has something to do with the harvest. Carmelia says that the fennel and roots grow during spring and die during summer, and that the weather has become terrible ever since the god of the beastmen disappeared. Because of that, they have to face wolves in addition to hunger and cold. She says that during summer, violent rains happen, causing floods, landslides, and destruction. And because of that, many tribes disappeared in the face of all those hardships. The elder says that they do not lack meat, but that the food spoils quickly, and without meat, they can only eat leaves or grass. The tribe chief says that their tribe is located fairly high in the mountains, but that many men are lost in the floods when they leave the village searching for supplies. Glinda begins understanding more clearly how the world of the beast men functions. The children are fed by the tribe, and the adult males go out hunting. The hunted food is divided between the tribe, while another portion stays with the hunters. The females remain within the tribe to take care of the cubs, and reproduction is the community's greatest priority. That is why all adults must choose mates to provide offspring for the tribe, and a female can marry more than one male to bear many cubs. But the bear girl knows she does not want to marry or have many cubs, so why is she wasting Ian's time? Glinda falls into a spiral of despair. He asks what is wrong. The girl says it is nothing, and that she is going to help with processing sugar from the fennel. She thinks she should tell Ian the truth as soon as possible, and she thought refining sugar would be easy, but she discovered it is not quite like that. Ian appears to help her. He stands behind the girl to help her stir the heavy spoon. She becomes flustered, but realizes that she is simply in love with him. Melky watches the scene angrily and thinks Glinda is trying to charm all the males in the tribe. The red-haired girl's companion says that Glinda merely asked to work with the team, and the redhead asks whether her companion is suggesting that she is wrong about the bear girl. The companion says that is not what she means and that she is on Melky's side, but the redhead says that if she discovers she is becoming friends with Glinda, she will make the girl pay the price. Eleanor asks why she would do that and says that Melky has been acting strangely. Melky promises Eleanor a much better life if she stays by her side, and says that she told Merlis to choose Eleanor as his partner. Melky's words make Eleanor happy, and the girl thanks the redhead for that. Eleanor knows that the young man in question does not like her, but that Melky can change that. Cutting to another scene, a young man from the tribe pours the sugary water into a stone well. Nearby, the elder says that all they need to do now is let the water evaporate until only the sugar remains. The tribe chief asks if that is really all there is to it. Glinda says that once the water has completely evaporated, what remains is the sugar the tribe needs, and that the same process should be used for starch. One of the boys says that he will return tomorrow to help Glinda. She thanks the young man for all his help and asks him to stay so they can have dinner together. The boy expresses gratitude because they used to be considered the tribe's disabled ones, and that because of her, things changed. The other boy says that they used to hide in corners and survive on leftovers from the tribe's meals, and that now they can walk around the tribe without feeling despised. The girl says that this is the least the rest of the tribe could do since they have all been working hard. Meanwhile, the elder asks her son whether he likes Glinda. He immediately replies yes. And the tribe chief asks whether he is finally going to get married. The son asks if the two of them can talk about it another day. The boy says this to his mother because he knows Glinda still has not promised to marry him. She thanks her partner for all his hard work and asks him to go home and rest. When she arrives at her cabin, she runs into another room and removes her green shirt. The girl notices there is a plant-shaped mark on her left forearm and becomes confused because it was not there a few days ago. She cries out in surprise after realizing that the mark is moving across her body. Ian hears the sound and enters the house to see what is happening. He asks if she is all right. Frightened, the girl asks if she is sick and shows him the mark. The young man smiles and says that she is not sick, she is expecting, and that the leaf moves whenever the babies move as well. He explains that each leaf in the mark represents one cub she is carrying in her womb, and that the father also carries this leaf mark. The girl becomes shocked and frightened because she did not want to get married, and now she knows she is expecting, especially with 3 cubs, and even worse knowing that Tigrean is the father. Ian asks if she is sad now that she knows, and says that Tigrean will not be able to reject her anymore no matter what. He asks if she wants the tiger boy to be informed. Glinda asks him not to do that, because the cubs are proof that Shay, the original owner of the body she is inhabiting, truly manipulated Tigrean. And if they are born, one day they will ask who their father is. She tells Ian that she never had anything to do with Tigrean and that she does not intend to keep the babies either. The boy asks her not to say that because a female from the tribe who does not care for her cubs is expelled. But then she asks why she should have the cubs if they would not have a father, and whether it would really be good for things to happen that way. She does not think it is fair that she has to pay for the things Shay did. Crying, she also remembers that she barely even had time to fall in love. The boy asks her not to cry and says he should not have spoken that way because he ended up frightening her. Then he asks her to go somewhere with him, and Ian opens his wings preparing to fly. Glinda asks the young man where he is taking her. He says that before any cub is born, an egg will form in the sanctuary of the god of the beast men. The girl becomes confused. From the edge of the cliff, Ian points toward the place where the sanctuary is located, and asks Glinda to let him take her there. When they arrive, the girl sees several trees with many eggs resting within the bases of those trees. Behind them stands Carmelia. She asks the girl if she came there to see the eggs, and says that 3 new eggs appeared that day. She knew the parents would show up. Amazed, Glinda looks at one of the eggs and asks if it represents one of the cubs she is expecting. Ian says that the mother and the cubs possess a natural spiritual connection, and that they feel everything the mother feels, and asks whether she would truly have the courage to destroy the eggs. She replies by saying that she feels nothing for Tigrean, and asks what she is supposed to do if the cubs are born without a father. The boy asks if there is any chance that he could become the father of the children. She is surprised by the question. The young man says that he truly likes her and hopes she will choose him as her partner. The girl does not know what to say, and Ian says that all he knows is that he likes her exactly the way she is, and that he wants to eat, hunt, and raise cubs beside her in the near future. Then he asks Glinda to choose him as her partner so he can take care of her and the cubs. The girl only says that if that happens, he should not regret his decision afterward. Happily, the young man celebrates by lifting her into his arms and taking flight, but she asks him to put her back on the ground because bears are afraid of heights, and her beast side is a bear. A bear and an eagle. How romantic. He understands and agrees, but says that building a treehouse for the couple might not be the best idea after all. The girl asks about the new house, and he says yes, their future new home, one they will build together. Back at her cabin, Glinda sits on her bed crying. She wonders how she could agree to marry a beast man when she had only just arrived in that world. But then the young man appears, opening the door with bags full of crystals and herbs. And the girl asks what all of that is. He replies that he is now officially her partner, which is why he needs to come to her house regularly to take care of her and the cubs. She smiles when she hears that and looks at the bed where the crystals are lying. Glinda asks whether all of that is really necessary. At that moment, Ian takes the girl's hands and the two of them end up cuddling together in bed. He gently caresses the girl, and she realizes that the young man's behavior has changed ever since she accepted him, and she wonders whether every beast man acts that way. Glinda asks why he seems to have been so cold toward her before, and Ian replies that he was never cold toward her and kisses her. Once again holding her hands, the boy asks whether she likes him, and says that he does not expect the bear girl to suddenly like him to the same extent right away, but asks her to try to like him a little more each day. The boy begins performing some courtship gestures, something common among beast men it seems. And the girl is flustered, asking the young man to be a little gentler. The boy licks the fingers of her left hand. She concludes that he is very excited. Lying beside the girl, he repeats that he wants to be her partner. Looking into her eyes, he says that her next litter will be his, and that they will have many cubs together. The next day, some boys from the tribe comment that Ian had moved into Glinda's house, and that this might mean they will have many children. And another comments that this is good for him since Ian finally found the woman he likes. Tigrian overhears everything and wonders whether the two are living together. Shay's ex goes to Ian, who was gathering mushrooms, and says that he heard about him and Glinda being together. The Eagle Boy interrupts his companion and says that he and the girl are about to formalize their union, that they will stay together, and that he likes her very much. Tigrian interprets the sentence and tone of voice as a warning and says that from that moment onward he will stay away from the two of them, and that he will never bother the couple again. Ian becomes unsure whether what he said and the way he said it was too harsh. After all, the cubs Glinda is expecting are Tigrian's children, because he knows Tigrian will notice the mark on his own body and go after Glinda. The young man says that in the name of his friendship with Tigrian, he will not be harsh toward him, but that he hopes Shay's ex remembers one day what he said at that moment. Behind the bushes, Melka overhears the entire conversation and becomes outraged by everything she hears. She thinks that she herself should be the female worthy of the male's love, and the one envied and fought over by the tribe's females. But then she remembers that Alara, her friend from the giant tribe, will arrive soon and solve the situation. Eleanor approaches Melke carrying 2 bowls of food made by Glinda. The redhead asks her friend whether she is out of her mind, whether she really thinks she is going to eat food made by the bear girl. Tigrian arrives and asks whether this is how Melke treats food that the tribe's young people gathered with such effort. And Glinda says that Melke could simply have said she did not want to eat the meal, and that the redhead should not try to copy the recipe while belittling the original. The fox girl asks Glinda not to blame her, because Eleanor could not hold the bowls since they were too hot, and that she does not even blame her friend for almost burning her with one of the bowls. Meanwhile, another young man from the tribe runs over, warning that several members of the giant beast tribe are at the entrance of the village. Ian asks his partner to accompany him because his mother has something to tell the couple. Melky celebrates her friend's arrival, and says that once they are there, Glinda will be nothing more than a toy for Alara. On the way to see Ian's mother, Glinda asks what happened and what the giant tribe is. The boy says that it is the most powerful tribe on the mountain, and that they possess the best resources because of their large population, but that they are authoritarian and treacherous, and that someone from the lake tribe must be conspiring with the giant tribe, which would explain their arrival. Glinda connects the dots and believes Melky is involved, but Glinda looks around again and notices that Ian slammed his fist against a tree trunk and called Melky a traitor. The Eagle Boy believes that the redhead shared information about all the stored food, which would cause the giant tribe to come there and seize the stockpile. Right after that, he apologizes for frightening the girl. He explains that the chief asked the two of them to negotiate with the giant tribe and buy time while the others move the food somewhere else. At the entrance, Alara introduces herself as the partner of the young chief of the giant tribe, and asks who Glinda is. Glinda introduces herself, but Ian interrupts by saying that she is the future partner of the Lake Tribe chief's son. Heading to the table, Alara notices the small amount of food being offered. The visitor asks whether that is any way to welcome guests. Alara sits beside Glinda and says that she heard about the bear girl and the tribe discovering many food supplies. Ian agrees and says that is indeed what happened. The boy asks them to bring to the table the good things the lake tribe harvested. Upon looking at the dishes, Alara wrinkles her nose and asks if that is all. Alara's delegation partner asks why the lake tribe feeds on bones and entrails, and whether the males of their tribe are incapable of hunting actual animals, because if that is the case, they can ask the giant tribe for help with that. Glinda asks them to try the recipe before judging it by appearance. The Eagle Boy comments that the visiting delegation is trying to take advantage of them, but that they can still get out of the situation safely, because they possess mushrooms and bamboo shoots to negotiate with. And the visiting tribe still does not know those things are easy to find. But the young man warns that he is not good at making deals. He was the chief's son, but she never had time to teach him about that side of things. Glinda simply tells the young man to leave that part to her. After tasting the recipe, Alara says the flavor is good. The bear girl explains that the bone soup may seem simple to make, but the process is complex, especially the mushrooms and entrails, which require a great deal of preparation. Alara asks the girl cook what it would take for her to teach the recipe and suggests some kind of discount. And Glinda replies that the condition would be 100 barrels of salt. Alara's delegation partner says she does not need to believe Glinda, and asks whether the blonde did not read Melka's letter in which the redhead claimed she had been mistreated by the bear girl. The young man says they should simply teach Glinda a lesson and then recruit Melka to go with them to the giant tribe, because Melka should know how to copy the recipe. But Alara replies that Jericho is still too young and that bamboo shoots and entrails can easily be found anywhere. This friend of Melka's is no fool, and says that the most important thing is not the food itself, but the way the person prepared it. Then Jericho asks what Alara intends to do. The giraffe girl says that her team has decided to give them 100 barrels of salt, but in exchange, people from her tribe must be allowed to follow Glinda wherever she goes. Ian's partner agrees and says that everyone can start by learning from her. One of Alara's companions introduces himself and says it is a pleasure to meet the girl. Ian asks Glinda what she thinks she is doing. A sea green-haired young man who is with Alara tells Ian that his group only wants to learn from Glinda, and asks why the young man is so worked up. The girl asks her partner to calm down because the group will only remain there for 2 days. He agrees and says he will not make a scene simply because she asked him not to. The sea green-haired boy says that he is intimidated by the Eagle Boy. Alara tells Ian that she agrees to the supply exchange, but her group needs to learn the recipes before leaving. Then the youths accompanying Alara begin presenting foods and asking Glinda whether they are edible or not. One of them, with mustard-colored hair, finds a sweet fruit and asks the girl to taste it. He says that the fruit's fragrance is so pleasant that it makes him want to taste it as well. The problem was that he said all of that while holding Glinda by the waist. The girl asks the mustard-haired boy to behave himself, otherwise she will not be able to teach him anything. Ian appears and tells him to take his hands off Glinda because she belongs to him. From afar, Tigreon stands beside Alara, and she asks whether he is jealous of Glinda being with Ian. She introduces herself and says she likes him very much, and that if he wants, she can take him to the giant tribe and make him her partner. Tigreon declines the invitation, leaving the girl wondering how anyone could reject her. She wonders if he might have some personal reasons, or perhaps he likes someone else. And she thinks that while looking at Glinda, the giraffe girl wonders what kind of spell the bear girl must have cast to make all the males of the lake tribe fall for her. The situation is making Alara more and more curious about Glinda. Melka watches everything and wonders why her friend from the other tribe is not taking any action. Then one of the members of Alara's team approaches Melka and says he was looking for her. The redhead asks what he wanted, and whether it had something to do with her going to the other tribe. The young man is Alara's brother and says that it might not be possible to take her to the other tribe, but that he could try to reverse that decision by speaking with his sister. Without understanding, Melka asks the reason for that. The giraffe girl's brother says it is nothing personal and that there is nothing wrong with her, but that the other tribe would prefer Glinda because she knows how to cook. The red-haired girl pretends to accept it and says she needs to go do something else. As she turns away, she makes a bitter face and asks what kind of magic Glinda is using for even Alara to be fascinated by her. Honestly, what an obsession with Glinda. Inside her house, Melka grabs a voodoo doll and says she is going to get rid of Ian's partner. Merlis arrives and asks Melka whether she is all right, and whether the people from the other tribe are bothering her. Upon seeing the young man, she becomes happy and asks whether he could do her a favor. Meanwhile, Glinda continues teaching about food, while needing to dodge the advances of the mustard-haired boy. But Merlis watches the scene and says he needs to speak with the girl. He believes that Glinda not only charmed Tigreon and Ian out of vanity, but is also flirting with the males from the other tribe. However, his intentions are different. He says he is there to apologize on Melka's behalf. The young man extends a bouquet toward the girl. Melka and Eleanor observe the entire scene, and the fox girl says she was not lying about arranging Merlis for Eleanor, but that for Glinda, having only Ian was apparently not enough. Eleanor cries and thinks that Merlis went there to express his feelings to Ian's partner, because the boy was offering a bouquet of flowers traditionally used to court girls. Melka says that Glinda is shameless and wants every male for herself. Eleanor thinks that without the bear girl around, Merlis would stay with her. Meanwhile, the mustard-haired boy says goodbye to the girl cook. Glinda awkwardly says goodbye to the young man and walks away thinking that only one day had passed and Ian had already shown bursts of jealousy. So what would he be like in the coming days? Then she is stopped by Eleanor. Melka's friend reveals a knife in her right hand and prepares to attack. Frightened, Glinda jumps backward but still gets cut on her right arm. Eleanor is threatening Glinda. Ian's partner asks the reason for all of this. Melka's friend says that she saw with her own eyes Glinda accepting the flowers that Merlis offered her. Fallen on the ground, Glinda asks Eleanor to calm down because it is not what it looked like, and that Merlis said the flowers were sent by Melka as an apology. Eleanor becomes conflicted. Why would Melka do something like that to her? Then she decides that Glinda is lying. Eleanor shouts that nobody is going to take Merlis away from her, and prepares to go after Glinda again. But the bear girl dodges and runs out of the tribe. Eleanor remains standing in the rain with the knife and tells Glinda never to come back, because if Melka wishes it, she or another tribe member will come after the bear girl. Eleanor cries, saying that if it were not her, it could have been Merlis, and confesses that she was not truly trying to hurt Glinda. She was only putting on a show to scare the girl into running away. Ian enters the house, calling for his partner and saying he managed to recover the prey Tigrian had captured, but he realizes she is not there. He sees bloodstains on the grass. Later, members of the Lake tribe go out searching for Glinda with torches in the middle of the forest. Carmelia, the tribe chief and Ian's mother, asks her son to be careful. The young man is furious and judges himself incapable of protecting the woman he loves. Tigrian tells Ian not to worry because the girl may simply have found some new food and gotten lost. Upon hearing that, Ian gives Tigrian a firm knock on the head and says that Glinda is carrying Tigrian's babies, so the tiger boy had better pray she is alright. Otherwise, he warns that the girl's ex will have to go to the zone of punishment to confess everything to the gods. The information shocks both Tigrian and Melka. Upon hearing that, Eleanor realizes she hurt a girl who is expecting cubs, and because of that, she believes she deserves to be punished. Eleanor asks her friend how she can remain so calm in a situation like this. The redhead tells Eleanor not to worry because she is not going to tell anyone what really happened. Little does Melka know the truth. The mushroom girl walks through the forest without knowing what to do. She knows she is already too far away to return, while at the same time she cannot continue going farther ahead, but she needs to find a safe place to treat her wound. She checks the supplies she has and concludes that it will be safe to spend the night there. But eyes were watching Glinda, and the entity wonders why a beast woman is in that place at that hour. Glinda hears a sound, but cannot tell what it is. The girl asks who is there and whether it is Eleanor. Suddenly, a wolf leaps out of a bush toward her, but the girl grabs the dagger and defends herself from the animal. She knows the smell of blood will only attract more and more wild animals. The entity continues observing and wondering whether she is going to cry. While she was defending herself from the second wolf, the figure appears and scares the wolves away. Glinda is amazed and unable to believe it. A figure that is half boy and half snake? After staring at each other for a while, the entity begins to walk away, but the girl notices that her wound disappeared. Seeing this, she starts running after the creature, who asks what the girl wants. The girl offers to take care of the wound on his left arm. He refuses, and Glinda insists because she knows that if it is not treated, the wound will become infected. The girl asks about his appearance. The half-snake boy replies that he is exactly that, a version of a beast man who lives in a hybrid form, and he begins telling his story, that everyone like him is considered a sinner from birth and therefore cannot fully transform, and that they commit all kinds of wrongdoing, which is why the place where they live is considered a harsh land. She says she did not know he was a hybrid. He even believes her because why would a beast like her approach him so closely if she had known that? And he warns her that everyone like him possesses a white crystal in the middle of their forehead, and that upon seeing it she should stay away. But she says that half-beast creatures are not despicable, and that the white crystal is not frightening but beautiful. The girl says that nothing should be judged based on species. Whether someone is good or bad depends on the hearts of people or beasts, and that he may be a hybrid, but he is kind. Otherwise, he would not have saved her. The snake boy says he saved her because she is a woman and he wanted to take her home, but she asks why he did not take her when he had the chance. He says it is because he knows she is expecting. Then the girl says that makes him a warrior who saved a woman. He becomes surprised by her response and begins to think that she is a very noble beast girl. He felt flattered by what she said. Glinda says that any misunderstanding has been resolved and officially introduces herself as a member of the Lake tribe. The half-snake boy is named Flint. He takes the girl to the cave where he lives, and Glinda comes across what he eats. For a moment, he thinks that perhaps she will dislike him because he is a hybrid. Then she looks at Flint and asks him to let her teach him how to preserve food. But he says that if she teaches him, she may be punished by her tribe's chief. Glinda replies that she would do it because he saved her. He thanks her and says that he will tell her a secret in return. The snake boy says that he went into the forest because he found a large quantity of salt there. The bear girl becomes happy when she hears that and says he can make a good supply of dried meat for winter. Flint says that he will give her the salt from the mines that exist there. Meanwhile, Ian and the rest of the lake tribe continue searching for the girl. But then he and Tigrean hear noises in the woods. Suddenly, the two come face to face with a group of hybrids like Flint. Tigrean says that they do not wish to harm anyone and that they are only searching for a female from their tribe who got lost. But the hybrids launch into an attack. Ian says they cannot continue like that because the half-beasts usually move together, and that there must be others nearby. The Eagle Boy believes that he and Tigrean need to leave that area. Because of that, Tigrean transforms into his beast form, a winged lion that stops the hybrids' attack. Then the boys spread their wings and fly away from the place. They land far away, but Ian notices something on his companion's left arm. Tigrean smells it and becomes surprised by what he realizes. Glinda's tribe chief reacts with shock upon learning that there is a salt mine in the beast forest. Carmelia asks Tigrean if he is certain about it. Tigrean says that the hybrids are secretly taking salt from the mines, and everyone believes Glinda is now in even greater danger because she is not a hybrid and may run into them in the forest. Glinda's partner says that he will not let anything bad happen to the girl and that he will find her that very night. Tigrean says that they will find the girl and asks the elder to share information about the hybrids with the tribe. The elder stays behind, praying for the god of the beast men to bless both young men and keep the girl safe and sound. She tells the residents of her village that the people from the Giant Gate tribe are still inside the Lake tribe and that no one can allow the guests to learn about the salt mine, and also that no female is allowed to leave while the males must hunt in groups. One young man asks how the rivals suddenly appeared in their forest. In other words, he assumes the entire forest belongs only to his tribe. Another says that the hybrids are so brutal that they would take members of other tribes by force. Eleanor runs to ask Melka what they should do, and says that the hybrids may have captured Glinda. She questions the redhead about what they should do now. Melka responds indifferently and says it would simply be bad luck for the bear girl if she got caught by them. Eleanor replies that it was the fox girl who put their rival in danger, and that it was she herself, Eleanor, who forced Glinda to run into the forest. Eleanor notices something while paying attention to Melka's expressions, and remembers that Glinda denied the accusations. The girl realizes that Melka lied about Merlis and the bouquet story. It was the red-haired girl who set everything in motion. The next morning, Glinda wakes up in the hybrids' territory. One of them says, "You wake up so early," and asks whether expecting females are not supposed to be tired and sleepy. She replies that the reason for that is because this is the first time she has slept outside the Lake tribe. And another hybrid asks who the girl is and why Flint cares so much about her. The hybrid with bullhorns becomes very shocked upon seeing Glinda. Another says that his companion is simply too shocked and asks the girl to ignore it. And the girl asks whether they belong to Flint's tribe. One of the horned boys is named Torian, and he becomes surprised by the information about Glinda. The horned boy Torian becomes uncertain. He wonders why she was alone in the forest the previous night. But then he realizes that the two beasts he encountered the night before were searching for her, referring to Ian and Tigrean. Inside the cave, Flint asks how she got injured and why she ran into the forest. The snake boy becomes outraged upon learning that the injuries were caused by females from her own tribe, and does not understand how those two could have done that to Glinda, referring to Melky and Eleanor. Glinda admits that she never imagined something like that would happen to her. Then the snake boy says that she can leave the Great Lake tribe and come live at his home, because he can protect her. Glinda thanks him but refuses. She explains that the people from her tribe are good to her and that everything was just an unfortunate incident, and that the home she has with Ian is also in the Lake tribe. Flint asks who Ian is, and whether he is her partner, and whether he treats her well. Glinda says that the Eagle Boy was the only one who stayed by her side during her most difficult moment. The girl says that he would support her in any idea she had. Then she adds that sometimes he is a little childish and overbearing, but that he becomes cute when he gets jealous. Paying attention to what Glinda says while defending Ian, Flint replies indifferently, and says that Ian failed to protect his partner properly, no matter what good qualities the young man possesses. Glinda responds that it was not Ian's fault because he had gone out hunting at that moment, and that nobody expected something like that to happen. The bear girl says that she believes Ian must be worried about her. Flint asks her to eat more. The snake boy wonders why he felt so sad hearing Glinda praise the Eagle Boy. He knows he promised himself that he would return her to the Lake tribe, but now he is uncertain. He questions whether he will regret doing that. Glinda says that it was so dark the previous night that she does not even know how she arrived there. Flint watches the girl trying to figure out the direction she came from. He holds her hand, apologizes, and says that she cannot return to the Great Lake tribe at that moment. She asks why. The boy explains that something happened at the salt mine and that he needs to go there, and asks whether she can accompany him. He says that he is afraid he might forget the things she taught him about preserving food, and asks whether she can go to the mine to review everything. Glinda says that when it comes to processing sugar or gathering non-poisonous mushrooms, practice is the most important thing. The serpent boy says that they can learn little by little, and that he will take her home afterward. But the girl asks to go to the salt mine. He becomes confused. The girl says that she wants to go there and asks the boy to send a message to her tribe saying that she is safe. The boy asks whether she is not afraid of going to his tribe. The young woman replies that she trusts Flint. The snake boy becomes surprised because no female had ever said that to him before. He asks her to stay close so she does not get lost like she did the previous night. The girl agrees and asks why Tarian called him Lord, and questions whether he is the leader of his tribe at such a young age. But he replies while pointing toward a specific place. Glinda reacts with surprise at what she sees. The young man says that place is the salt mine. He watches the girl become enchanted by the mine. The girl stares wide-eyed as she realizes it belongs to Flint's tribe. As soon as the hybrids catch sight of Flint, a chorus of voices breaks the silence. One of the workers with dark hair becomes happy to see the snake boy. Another asks why there is a female with him. A third speaks to Glinda and asks whether she is Flint's companion, and says that if she is, then the snake boy must like her very much to bring her there. Glinda denies it and says that she and Flint are not in a relationship. The snake boy hears this and thinks that she does not want to be with him, because he is a hybrid while her partner is a beast man. But he sets those thoughts aside and says that she came to teach them how to store food, and orders everyone to listen to her and protect her. Glinda tells the group that she is going to begin teaching them about food storage and preservation. Flint tells everyone to stop what they are doing and organize themselves into two groups, one to gather food and the other to learn from the mushroom girl. He understands that food storage is just as vital as salt extraction. One of the mine workers tells the chief that his guest is very capable, but the serpent young man corrects him by saying that he and the visiting girl are not in a relationship, and that he will send the girl back to her tribe as soon as she finishes there. The bull boy cannot understand his leader's decision. He asks why Flint would do that, and whether the snake boy does not like her, a female so gentle and full of knowledge. After all, how could it be possible for Flint not to want the company of a girl like Glinda? Was the leader failing to realize what a rare jewel the mushroom girl truly is? Flint tells the bull boy that it does not matter and that nothing will change because the girl already has a partner and she does not belong there. The little bull says that if Flint saved her, then the girl belongs to him. But the young man ends the conversation by saying that he is a hybrid, and that Glinda deserves a beast man. The bull boy remains persistent, but the leader of the hybrid tribe declares the matter closed and says the decision has already been made. Tarian accepts, but says that the chief needs to think very carefully before deciding he will not regret it later, and Flint starts wondering whether he will regret it. Glinda explains that the bamboo shoots need to be cut into strips, boiled, and hung so the water can drain before they are dried under the sun for preservation. Then she points toward the mushrooms and says they can be dried directly and stored. The girl also asks them to spread salt over the cured meat as she continued her lesson. A young warrior asks what they should do with the soft roots. She teaches the technique of grating the roots and letting them rest. Suddenly, the girl's device identifies the root as crunchy, delicious, spicy, and sweet. The girl looks at one of the hybrid boys and asks where he found the star radishes. The young man says he found them accidentally while digging for roots. The girl then picks up one of the radishes, analyzes it, and says that they can be stored after being dried out. Another tribe member celebrates because nobody will go hungry during spring or summer anymore. The tribe, which had so often faced hardship during the warm seasons, can finally see a better future ahead. Glinda then understands the situation from before she arrived there and asks why they struggle so much during those seasons. The hybrid with blue hair and a golden tiara describes the harsh reality of his people. He explains that his tribe lives in the northwestern desert, where food is much harder to find, and points far away, trying to indicate the distance his people must travel. But the tiger hybrid adds that even when they manage to bring prey back home, the meat spoils quickly because of the hot climate. He says that many people in the community face hardship every year due to the lack of food, and that if they want to survive, they have to take food from the beastmen. But Glinda chooses to understand instead of judge, because now she knows the reason the hybrids act the way they do. It is not because they are evil or malicious, but because they are trying to survive. She replies that she cannot agree with their actions, but she understands them. She does not approve of the situation, but she also cannot imagine the despair of watching their own people suffer from hunger. She takes a deep breath and says she knows other foods that can be stored for a very long time, and asks the hybrids to bring those foods to her. She knows this is a matter of survival for the hybrids. The girl says that she can at least help them in her own way and make their lives better. Without wasting time, the hybrids run into the forest trying to fulfill the girl's request. Standing beside the hybrid dressed in green, Glinda holds up a fruit and explains that the fruit is sour and tastes bad when eaten raw, but that it can be preserved in sugar syrup after being dried. She says that the harvested fruit is tasty and storable, and that many fruits can be prepared that way. Her device identifies it as a sour pod, with an acidic flavor but edible. Suddenly, the blue-haired young man with the golden tiara blows the horn, and the tiger warns the girl that it is lunchtime. At the table, Flint praises Glinda for everything she has done, and says it is amazing how the tribe members managed to copy the recipe the girl taught them. Together, everyone eats the prepared meal. Flint praises the food again and says that entrails become delicious after being prepared properly. The others compliment Glinda's culinary talents and her gift for knowing what can and cannot be eaten. A bull hybrid says that it is as if she were sent by the gods to help them. The girl says that she merely taught the method, but that all the effort put into making the recipes belongs to them. Meanwhile, Tarion gets Flint's attention. He asks the chief if he is really sure about letting the bear girl leave. After all, he says, the girl is not afraid of anyone in the tribe and is kind to everyone. He warns Flint that he might lose the chance to keep someone truly special. But the hybrid leader has already decided. He is going to take the girl back to the Great Lake tribe. But before that, he will deal with the people from Glinda's tribe who hurt her. Meanwhile, back at the Great Lake tribe, Melka is with Merlis and begs the young man not to let anyone take her to the zone of punishment. The redhead asks her partner to take her far away from there, so she can have a chance to avoid any consequences. But the fox girl promises that she will make Glinda pay for everything that is happening. Honestly, Melka really is relentless. Watching the lake tribe from behind some bushes were several hybrids. They were Flint and Torian. The bullboy says that Eleanor was punished for hurting Glinda and is now under the tribe's authority, and that she was ordered to contribute to the tribe in a very strict way. Flint feels satisfied hearing that, but asks what will happen to Melke. The bullboy says that she will be sent to the zone of punishment and judged by the god of the beastmen. But the snake boy says that is too easy for the redhead, and asks why they do not send her to the city of darkness instead. Meanwhile, Merlis and Melke quietly leave one of the cabins. The young man continues making advances toward her, but the girl asks him to stop and says they could go to the giant beast tribe because Alara would protect them. As they try to escape while avoiding the guards, someone stops the couple in their tracks. Once again, it is Flint and his group. He says that the redhead is very skilled at drawing people in and then convincing them to do whatever she wants, and that she almost got away. He says that the others do not need to return to the salt mine, but instead should take the runaway couple to the city of darkness, and he asks them to be careful with Melky along the way. While Flint's companions followed his orders, the snake boy focused on sending a message to Glinda's tribe. Nearby, Carmelia, the tribe chief, becomes thoughtful about the fact that Ian and Tigrian have been searching for the girl for 2 days, and wonders where she could have gone. Then the elder notices a piece of paper lying on top of her table. The paper says that Glinda is safe and will return to the tribe soon. She calls the 2 young men over and also speaks about the City of Darkness. The elder says it is a place of disorder and unrest, where the hybrids are even fiercer and more ruthless, and that the lord of that city is treacherous and cunning, and if they take the bear girl there, only the gods know what could happen. Ian urges them to hurry there immediately. Tigrian asks for caution and says that if they had harmed Glinda, then why would they send this letter? The eagle boy replies by asking that if she is truly safe, then why have they not brought her back already? After all, the hybrids are trying to buy time because if Glinda is in the City of Darkness, she might never be able to leave. But Carmelia tells them to negotiate with the hybrids. Elsewhere, Glinda is watching the night sky while Flint approaches her. The young man says it is late and asks why she is still awake. Glinda says that she is admiring the night. Flint wraps Glinda in his arms, lifting the girl effortlessly. His green eyes fix on her with a smile. Surprised by that gesture, Glinda becomes embarrassed. She looks at Flint and asks what he is doing. He replies that he is taking the girl to a secret place. When they arrive, Glinda is surprised. She asks how he discovered that place. The snake boy says that he explored until he found it. The young man moves closer to the girl, his face near hers. The girl notices and becomes flustered. She asks why he does not put her down first. Flint says that they are on a cliff and that the path there is terrible, and that they would save time if he carried the girl in his arms. She agrees that the road is indeed terrible, but asks again how he found this place. Flint says that he found it by accident while exploring the salt mine. The girl says that in that place, she feels like she could touch the stars. She stretches her right arm upward, but the snake boy realizes what could happen. He asks the girl not to go any farther because she was heading toward a cliff edge. While saving her, she and the snake boy once again end up close in a way she perhaps did not expect. She says that he saved her again and thanks him. Flint asks her not to say anything. The hybrid confesses that he likes the girl. She is left speechless, but he says that he likes her and wants to protect her, and that she does not need to thank him because everything he does is exactly what he wants to do for the girl. But Glinda says that she already has a partner named Ian, and that she does not intend to have any other partners. The snake boy says that it does not matter, and that he also does not want to become a burden to her. Then he asks whether they are at least still friends. Glinda says that of course they are, and he becomes happy and says that she can come to him if she is ever in danger, because he will help her, trying to change the subject and escape from that situation. The serpent hybrid says that she has already seen the stars and can now go rest, but the girl asks about the salt mine. The snake boy says that he and the hybrid tribe have already learned almost everything, and that they will try to follow exactly everything the girl taught them. The next morning, Glinda wakes up and finds herself resting on Flint's lap. She asks what happened and how she ended up there, close to him. Flint says good morning to the girl. He says that after falling asleep, she curled herself around him, and says that she tossed and turned all night long. Besides, it is normal for a snake to sleep with its body coiled. On that point, he does have a reason. He asks the bear girl to get up so the two of them can continue their journey. The girl simply could not ignore what had happened. The snake boy asks whether she really wants to return to the salt mine and say goodbye to the hybrids. He does not understand why she cares so much about them. She replies that of course she wants to go back to the mine, and says that the hybrids from Flint's tribe have all been good to her, and that it would be rude to leave without saying goodbye. For Flint, who lives by the law of the strongest, that makes no sense, but he respects the girl's decision. But suddenly, Tigreon arrives warning the chief and the girl that something is wrong, because the others spotted dozens of beastmen heading toward them. Flint asks whether he is certain about that. Tigreon says that the males from Glinda's tribe were extremely alert, and that the secret of the salt mine may have been discovered. The salt mine was becoming the center of the conflict. Flint ordered Tigreon, the bull hybrid, and the others to stop all the invaders from advancing, because that way, the secret of the salt mine would never be revealed. Glinda touched the snake boy's arm. She asks whether fighting is really necessary, and whether things cannot be solved peacefully. He tells Glinda that the girl is far too naive, and that the differences between beasts and hybrids are not so easily resolved, and that even if Flint's tribe let them go, the beast men would not spare the hybrid tribe either. The snake hybrid tells her not to worry about that, and says he is sorry that he has to return to lead his people, and because of that, he can only ask Tarion to take her back to the tribe she belongs to. The girl becomes thoughtful and cannot stop imagining how devastating a confrontation between the two sides would be. Flint asks Tarion to be careful on the road, and that he must return Glinda safely. The bullboy pounds his chest in a sign of loyalty, accepting the mission as his highest priority. Glinda remains standing beside them with a tightness in her chest. She thinks that she has no power at all to stop what is about to happen. Elsewhere, the beastmen of the Lake Tribe walk through the forest. Carmelia calls for her son Ian and for Tigreon. The chief of the Lake Tribe asks whether they are certain they are going the right way. The boys say yes. Her son says he is sure, and that he and Tigreon carefully searched for the hybrids during the last 2 days and discovered that they had been more active in that area. Hearing something strange, the Eagle Boy senses danger. Tigreon realizes that they are under attack. Spears begin flying through the air. The Tiger Boy barely avoids being struck. The spears continue raining down around them, forcing the group to take cover. Ian demands that the enemies show themselves. To him, attacking that way is proof of cowardice. Tigreon asks the enemies whether that is how the City of Darkness behaves. The hybrids begin emerging and surrounding the group. One of the enemy leaders steps forward. Ian asks who they think they are. Flint appears and asks how the members of the Great Lake Tribe dare disturb the City of Darkness, whether they are seeking trouble. Ian steps forward and demands that they release Glinda. Behind him, Tigreon states that they came there because they received information. The Tiger Boy tells the hybrid leader that a female from their tribe is somewhere around there, and that he expected Flint and his group to return the girl. The Snake Boy says that the visitors are correct, that she is there, and that he saved her from the wolves. But he says that because he saved the girl, the bear girl now belongs to him, and he will not return her. Carmelia steps forward, staring directly at Flint. She agrees and says that according to the rules of the beast world, Flint rescued her, and because of that, the girl now belongs to the Snake Boy's tribe. Ian becomes desperate upon hearing his mother's words. He cannot accept it, because Glinda is not a possession or a hunting trophy, but his partner. Meanwhile, the Tiger Boy says that Glinda is carrying his cubs, and Flint wonders whether that is true, because now all the pieces of the puzzle begin fitting together inside his mind. He remembers the conversations and the people Glinda talked about before getting lost in the forest. The hybrid leader concludes that one of those boys was the Ian the girl mentioned so much, and the other was Tigreon. The elder proposes a deal. Flint feels his curiosity awaken. He asks the elder what she means by that. Carmelia proposes that the Snake Boy return Glinda in exchange for the secret of the salt mine remaining hidden. Flint processes the offer. He evaluates that it does not sound so bad, but says that he has another proposal for the chief of the Lake Tribe and asks her to listen. Flint offers to share half of the salt mine with her tribe in exchange for an agreement regarding Glinda, and asks the elder what she thinks about that. Carmelia says she would like to keep the salt mine a secret, but in exchange she insists that the girl be returned. He watches Carmelia, recognizing in her a leader worthy of standing beside him. The announcement of dividing the salt mine silenced the field for a brief second. The warriors of Flint's tribe did not see the mine as a fair bargaining chip. The green-haired boy says they will not accept this exchange, and that Glinda is far more important than the salt mine. On the other side of the group, the gray-haired member made clear his disdain for the idea, and that the girl is far too good to be left there. The tiger hybrid watched everything with curiosity. Elsewhere, another bull hybrid asks if Glinda can stay with their tribe. Ian steps forward and says he will not leave the bear girl in the City of Darkness. Tigreon agrees and tells Flint that if he does not return Glinda, he will not be afraid to stand against him. Carmelia explains that even a victory for the City of Darkness will not guarantee the safety of the secret of the salt mine, and that they will not give up on taking the girl back. Ian's mother says it would be better for him to think twice, because the Lake tribe possesses many beastmen. She says that even if her tribe were to be overcome, they would still make sure everyone knew about the salt mine, and that the city of the hybrids' leader would be surrounded and pressured by other beast tribes unless he wanted to face all of them. The Snake Boy says that the opposition has a good point, but that for him, giving in to the demands of the Great Lake tribe without a fight is not how the hybrids of the City of Darkness operate. He turns directly toward Tigreon and points toward the open field, and challenges the Tiger Boy to face him one-on-one, and that if he wins, he can have Glinda back. But if he loses, the girl stays in the City of Darkness. The Tiger Boy is not afraid, but feels outraged at seeing Glinda's situation being treated as the prize of a contest. But the situation changes, and the two prepare for the challenge. Carmelia asks Ian to have faith in the Tiger Boy, because he is the bravest warrior of their people. In a battle of spiritual power, Tigreon and Flint transform into their beast forms, a winged lion and a serpent. They collide and the impact is devastating, generating a shockwave that sends dust and debris flying. The battle between the two beasts is interrupted by Glinda's cry. As she emerges from among the trees, she asks the Tiger Boy and Flint to stop, begging them to end the fight. The rivals stop as soon as the girl speaks, and everyone shouts her name. One of the tribe members watches her with a mixture of relief and disbelief. Glinda, still trying to catch her breath and leaning against the tree trunk, can no longer contain her emotions. Upon recognizing the familiar faces, the girl becomes happy. Ian says he is very happy to have found her, but Tigreon is left out. He is physically present, but the couple Ian and Glinda seem to forget that he is there. The elder says everyone is relieved that she is there. Tigreon approaches Flint and apologizes for not being able to hold the girl back. He says the young woman's determination was so strong that she refused to stay away. Flint simply says that everything is fine because the goal was for Glinda to find her friends and partner anyway. The Snake Boy says the girl's happiness was more important than his own happiness. To Ian, Glinda explains that she was fine the whole time because the Snake Boy took very good care of her. She explains that the hybrid saved her from the animals she encountered in the forest, and that despite being different, he is very kind. Glinda's words leave the beastmen confused and surprised. While the leaders discuss the future of the truce between the tribes, hybrids and beastmen wonder what will be done. The short green-haired boy watches, questioning out loud why the hybrids of the City of Darkness seem so different from the terrible stories they had always heard, and whether they could truly be kind enough to have helped Glinda out of genuine goodwill and not self-interest. The first gray-haired boy does not share the same opinion, because Glinda says she was treated well by her hosts. The second gray-haired boy steps in to calm things down among the companions. He says there is no point in speculating now because everyone will know the future of the forest and both tribes as soon as the meeting ends. Inside the tent, Glinda, Ian, Tigreon, Flint, and Carmelia gather and talk about everything that happened. The girl explains how the tribes failed to try to understand one another, and that it was she who asked Flint to send a letter saying that she was fine. But the bear girl confesses that she did not realize that the hide used for the message carried a mark from the City of Darkness. That small detail made the Lake tribe interpret the message as a threat. As she speaks, Ian and Carmelia understand that everything was a misunderstanding. Ian's mother understands the situation and acknowledges that the mistake came from their side, and she expresses her gratitude to Flint for saving Glinda, and that now the Great Lake tribe owes a great debt to the Snake Boy and his followers. The Eagle Boy places his tribe at their disposal, promising that if they ever need help in the future, they only have to ask. Glinda watches the exchange of promises with a relieved smile. The fear of seeing her friends and Flint destroy each other has been replaced with hope. Respectfully, Flint says that he will not need help, and that regarding the relationship he has with Glinda, everything is resolved. But Ian interrupts and says that the bear girl is his partner, and therefore her matters are also his matters. The Snake Boy asks the Eagle Boy if he is the partner Glinda spoke about so much. The young man answers yes. Then the Serpent Hybrid says he heard that Glinda was carrying another male's cubs, and asks if that is why Tigreon is not her official mate. Carmelia's reaction is one of absolute shock, but the Tiger Boy takes responsibility for the truth. He confirms that he is the father of the cubs Glinda is carrying, but also reveals that she is not his partner. In her mind, Glinda analyzes the three men surrounding her. To her left is Tigreon, the biological father of the cubs. In the center is Flint, the hybrid who rescued her and wishes to be the father. And to her right is Ian, the tribe mate she chose as her partner and who would be the nominal father. Glinda explains that the Tiger Boy is not her partner despite the fact that she is carrying his cubs in her womb. The young woman is relieved to know that the whole truth has finally come to light and that nothing else needs to be hidden anymore. But she does not hide her happiness in saying that Ian is officially her only partner. Amid the entire conversation, Tigreon says he is going to step outside for a moment and asks everyone to continue talking. Carmelia brings the group's attention back and says that Ian must have a lot to say to Glinda, since the two of them were separated for so long. Ian agrees and approaches Glinda to tell her that many things have happened within the tribe. While the two talk, Flint watches everything and makes a quiet comment to Ian, saying that the girl should not have only one partner if the Eagle Boy is having trouble keeping her safe. Glinda mentions that Eleanor's punishment seems very harsh. She walks anxiously, troubled by what she has heard, and argues that Eleanor does not deserve to be punished in such a harsh way, even if she made a serious mistake. To Glinda, it was Melka who caused everything. Eleanor was merely manipulated, and punishing her would mean ignoring the true source of the problem. Ian says that the fact remains, Eleanor made the choice to hurt Glinda because of a dispute over a male, and that the bear girl's kindness could end up being harmful to the collective. The young man says that if Eleanor does not face consequences, the tribe's discipline will be compromised, and the group will fall into complete disorder. To him, the rules must be enforced so that others will not feel encouraged to follow the same path of betrayal. He argues that regardless of whether Melkat instigated Eleanor, the final choice to hurt Glinda came from Eleanor herself, motivated by a foolish dispute over a male. To Ian, the tribe's code cannot be flexible when it comes to direct attacks against its members, and that the absence of consequences creates room for dangerous things in the future. He observes Glinda's anguished expression and recognizes that he understands the pity she feels for Eleanor, but emphasizes that personal feelings cannot outweigh the traditions of the tribe. He declares that the tribe's rules are clear. Eleanor must take full responsibility for the mistakes and harm she caused, and that the consequences will not be limited to the one who carried out the plan. The boy says that the red-haired girl will also face judgment and will experience the same consequences as her friend. To the Eagle Boy, this is the only way to restore order and security. Glinda silently concludes that the Beastmen's rules are far too harsh. As they walk side by side, Ian shows genuine concern for the young woman's physical and emotional well-being. He asks how her days among the hybrids were, and whether anyone was aggressive or unkind to her in any way. The girl says there were no problems at all. She says that the inhabitants of the City of Darkness were gentle and kind to her during the entire time she stayed there, and speaks about the warmth she found in the City of Darkness. The bear girl tells Ian that everyone took very good care of her and her needs, and that they barely let her do any kind of effort or task, surrounding her with care to ensure her comfort and safety. Glinda says she realized that small displays of affection from her had a huge effect on the hybrids, and that if she simply smiled, they seemed to carry that happiness for a long time. Glinda continues her account, trying to break down the prejudice, and explains that the hybrids are not the terrifying and hateful creatures the rumors suggest, and that they are a group set apart from the Beastmen because of their unusual appearances. To her, their true nature is one of deep and repressed sensitivity. She says they are capable of shedding tears of pure gratitude. The girl says that the Snake Boy protected her from the wolves, that he appeared out of nowhere and saved her from danger, even getting hurt during the confrontation. Glinda admits that at first Flint tried to act tough, but that his actions were kind, and that he took her to a safe cave and gave her food, and later shared the secret of the salt mine with her. But the young woman stops talking when she notices Ian is displeased and standing with his arms crossed. The bear girl thinks he is jealous, realizing that perhaps she praised Flint too much. Ian impatiently asks what else that snake did for the girl. Trying to recover the situation, Glinda begins to stammer, immediately backing away. But he approaches the girl in a romantic manner, and she leans into Ian's arms, giving him a kiss on the cheek. With a choked voice, the bear girl confesses that she missed him very much. The boy hugs the young woman and says that he missed her too. Then the Eagle Boy gently holds Glinda's face with one hand and looks into her eyes, and tells her that his greatest fear was that something terrible would happen to her somewhere he could not protect her. Tigreon observes the couple. Glinda reacts with surprise and asks what is wrong and why he is there. The Tiger Boy says that he is there to speak with the girl. He addresses the young woman, saying that he needs to talk to her regardless of Ian's presence. The girl is surprised and asks what it is about. Meanwhile, Carmelia and Flint talk. She asks if all that needs to be done is for her to send some beastmen to help with the mine work, and in exchange he will give up half of the salt. The Snake Boy asks if that is not a good offer. She says that is not the issue. Internally, she thinks the offer is too good and that there may be something behind it. Flint asks why she is so wary and whether or not they have an agreement, but she agrees and says she will send some beastmen soon. He is pleased and hopes that both sides will be happy. Flint warns Carmelia that the people of her tribe should leave that region as soon as possible because it is not safe. The elder asks if he was really going to return the girl. Carmelia suspects that the Snake Boy only returned Glinda because of the circumstances. He responds by asking for her to be protected. Otherwise, he will come to find her himself. The tribe leader thinks he may have had other plans in mind. She remembers the letter with the symbol of the City of Darkness, Glinda's visit to the salt mine, and how he used the girl as a bargaining chip in the conflict with the Lake Tribe. Carmelia thinks he is not entirely trustworthy, and that Ian must remain attentive where the girl is concerned. The Eagle Boy steps away so Glinda can talk to Tigreon, and the young woman remembers that the two of them have not spoken since she pushed him away. But now she is carrying his cubs. The Tiger Boy apologizes, but she says that everything is all right. He says that he will take responsibility for the future children. That leaves Glinda surprised because she remembers that the original owner of the body she is using was the one who forced the situation between them. And because of that, he had been heading to the zone of punishment to avoid being tied to Shay. The young man says that he will help Glinda with the cubs. The bear girl says there is no need. He asks why and whether she dislikes him. She says that she does not dislike him, but that it is not only about responsibility but also about love, and asks whether the tiger boy truly loves her. The question shakes the boy deeply. He had a difficult time accepting her at first, but later gradually started to see the new version of the girl differently. Glinda says that if they stay together only out of obligation, they will suffer, and that it would be wrong to expose the children to constant arguments. The girl leaves, making the young man wonder whether he truly loves her or not. Later, Glinda is explaining how to use a plant to make a delicious soup, and how to use other ingredients as well. The girl's device congratulates her for identifying 200 types of ingredients. The hybrids begin asking whether she would not like to stay in their tribe, and that if she wants, they can make Flint stay with her. The young woman asks where the snake boy is, and a blue-haired boy says that the snake boy was not very happy after the conversation with Carmelia and went inside the tent. She gets the idea of cheering him up by giving him a necklace she received from the food identifying device. Glinda enters Flint's tent and says that she has something for him. He asks if she is still around the area. The young woman replies yes and says that she would not leave until she identified every plant that exists in the region, and that she would not leave without saying goodbye to him and giving him his gift. He is surprised, and she asks permission to place the necklace around his neck. When wearing the necklace, the boy feels that his beast aura is reacting more strongly. Because of that, he decides to return the necklace. But she says that it is just a necklace, and that he can keep the necklace as a token of appreciation for all his hard work. To keep it as a gift from the god of the beast men to the hybrids, Flint accepts and says that the gift he will give her is for when Glinda reaches adulthood. She opens the box and sees that she has received a tear of the god's flower. The device begins beeping and says that if she registers this flower, she will receive a surprise gift. She realizes that the device became very interested in the tear of the god's flower and is doing everything it can to gain access to the plant. Glinda's device even offers several items in exchange for the flower, which leaves the young woman curious. The bear girl becomes uneasy and thinks it is better to set the device aside for now. Flint notices the worried look on the girl's face and asks if something is wrong. She tries to brush it off by saying that the flower is so beautiful that she was left speechless. But in her mind, Glinda thinks that she cannot accept the gift carelessly, because if the device reacted that way, then that flower has awakened something. But the snake boy says that if she does not accept the flower, he will return the necklace. Glinda replies that it is not that. She just wants to know where the flower came from. Flint says it came from Mount God. The young man says that it is a sacred place. They say that the god of the beast men lives there, and that the treasures that come from there can make whoever possesses them stronger. But to achieve that, it is necessary to pass through several trials until reaching the peak of the mountain, and only then be accepted and approved by the god of the beasts, and receive a treasure. Upon hearing this, she remembers what she said some time ago to Flint and the elder, about waking up and being blessed by the gods with knowledge about food, and that is why the device was on alert, because it likes collecting treasures. The snake boy asks if she is all right, because she started spacing out. Glinda replies that she is and that she was only thinking about where to store the precious flower. The young man says that she does not need to store it and that the flower can be placed with the eggs of her cubs, and they will be born stronger. Suddenly, the elder enters the tent and says that Melky has disappeared and asks whether Flint knows where the red-haired girl is. Glinda is surprised. Carmelia says that the fox girl escaped, and that the hybrid who was escorting her was overpowered. The bear girl knows that Melky is very clever. Ian's mother explains that the young woman ran away and sent tribe members after her, but there has been no sign of the red-haired girl so far, and asks whether Flint took her somewhere. The snake boy says yes. The elder asks why he did that. He replies that Melky caused harm to Glinda, and since he stopped her escape, the red-haired girl is under his authority and will not be released. Carmelia asks what he is going to do with her, and where she is. Flint responds that what they do with Glinda's rival is not something he will discuss with outsiders, and that she will face consequences in the City of Darkness. The bear girl becomes uneasy because she knows the punishments in Flint's region are much harsher. Would the snake boy really go that far with Melky? Carmelia says that as far as she is concerned, the matter is in Flint's hands, since the snake boy will not let the matter go. The young woman asks the young man if he really needs to deal with the red-haired girl so severely, but Flint replies that it is nothing like what the girl is imagining, and that he only sent Melky there so she could reflect on everything she had done. Glinda apologizes for misreading the situation. He changes the subject and says that she will become an adult in a matter of days, and asks whether Glinda will marry the father of the cubs. She replies that she will not because the one she wants is Ian, because he is gentle and trustworthy, and because he protects her well, besides truly caring for her. The snake boy watches her speak about Carmelia's son with joy in her eyes. Then the young woman notices that the snake boy has become serious, and asks whether he would like to be the godfather of the cubs, because they will be safe with Flint nearby. The boy accepts without thinking twice, and says that he will protect Glinda's children at all costs. The bear girl says goodbye to Flint happily. Back at the lake tribe, Glinda is greeted by everyone. Maggie, the mother of the original owner of the body Glinda took over, welcomes her, and asks whether the hybrids did anything to her. Glinda replies that they did not and that she was treated very well. Maggie asks whether she went to the sacred place to see the cub's eggs, because it is something important, and asks why she did not say she was expecting. Glinda takes the blame for that, and says that from now on she will share everything with Shay's mother. The bear girl thinks that she needs to take better care of Shay's mother, since she is using the girl's body. But she is surprised when Maggie asks whether she would like to find another partner. Glinda is shocked. She says that she does not want to, but Maggie insists, saying that the more she stands out, the more partners she can attract, and the more cubs she can give to the Great Lake tribe. The girl replies that she does not even want Tigreon, so who else would she be with? Besides, she is already with Ian, of course. Shay's mother understands that there may have been some tension with the tiger boy and promises to look into it, but the girl says that is not it at all, that Maggie misunderstood. She says that her only interest is Ian, to build a life and have a family with him. Maggie says that life with only one partner is difficult because unexpected things can happen. The young woman still wants only Ian, but she understands the concerns being raised, and that it is important to have food, resources, and supplies for any unexpected situation. The eagle boy heard everything from behind the tree and remembers the conversation he overheard between Flint and the tiger boy about Glinda potentially having more than one partner, and wondered whether Glinda would truly be happy with just him. Later, the girl enters the house and asks whether the eagle boy is ready for the ceremony to become an adult. He responds by asking why she does not want to marry Tigreon. The bear girl does not like what she hears, and asks whether Ian wants to share her with other males. The boy says that he does not want to share her, but that Glinda is carrying another young man's cubs, and that sooner or later the children will seek out their biological father. Because of that, the young woman could consider giving her former companion a chance. She replies that it is not like that, because in her heart there is space for only one person, and that if it is not him, it will be no one else. She walks outside the house feeling upset, but Ian catches up to her and says that he did not want to make her feel that way. She reinforces that she will not be with anyone else. The young man apologizes and thinks that he never imagined he would end up with Glinda. The girl replies that all they need to do is build a better life together. The next day, the ceremony begins, and Glinda asks if she looks beautiful in the dress made from the feathers of a bird of prey. Maggie says that she is the most beautiful beast bride in the tribe, and the other young men agree, and that she is more beautiful than Melka. Ian appears and is left speechless by the beauty of his bride. Tigreon watches the couple and thinks they look happy together. Meanwhile, the elder prays for the god of the beast men to bring good weather for the ceremony. Glinda sees the elder distributing the blessing of the beast god to the brides and knows that her turn is coming. But she receives a warning from her device saying that it will update in a few moments. She receives the news with concern and starts feeling dizzy until she faints. The girl wakes up in a virtual space and wonders where she is and whether it is related to the device's program. She calls out to the voice of the device, and the system tells her to wait while it updates. The young woman remembers that it acted strangely when it saw the flower Flint gave her as a gift, and that now it is updating. Could these things be connected somehow? Suddenly, a voice announces a disruption and says that the update will be suspended. She does not understand the reason for this and starts running, but then she begins falling through an empty space. Glinda's physical body is trembling, and Ian calls out to the girl. The young man says that the girl is scaring him. Nearby, Tigreon asks if something happened to the babies. Carmelia says that she examined the girl and that there is nothing wrong with her. She merely gave Glinda her blessing, and then she fainted, which makes no sense at all, unless she became too overwhelmed with emotion. The young woman starts saying the word system and asks what happened. Tigreon and Ian question whether she is having a strange dream. She wakes up and sits upright. Ian asks whether she has been very exhausted lately. The tiger boy says that he will make bone soup for her. Outside the cabin, one of the elders asks how the bear girl is doing. Carmelia says that she is fine, that it was only nerves, and that the coming-of-age ceremony must continue. It is worth remembering that the coming-of-age ceremony also includes the tribe's marriages. Later, already back on her feet, Glinda returns to the outside area, and Maggie asks whether she is all right and if she wants to rest more. The young woman says that Maggie does not need to worry, and that she is simply very tired from all the activity of the last few days. Shay's mother asks how she could not worry after hearing what happened, about Glinda fainting from being so moved at the idea of marrying Ian, and believes that the girl truly loves the young man. The bear girl keeps thinking about the embarrassment her device put her through, and that now everyone thinks she was overcome with feelings for Ian. She does like him, but not quite to the point of fainting because of it. Maggie says that the wedding is about to begin, but that she hopes the girl marries more boys in the future. The wedding begins, so in an adorable way, he asks if she accepts becoming his partner for the rest of her life. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. What a story, right? Glinda ended up in this world completely by accident, with no special powers, no magic, but with nothing more than her 21st century knowledge and a dash of courage, she managed to change an entire tribe. And what about that dynamic with Ian, Tigreon, and Flint? Three completely different men competing for the attention of a woman who just wanted to survive and make a good bone soup. Now tell me, who are you rooting for? Is there something you're curious about or that got you excited? Tell me more in the comments. And if you want more, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss any new episode. The name of this work is How to Tame Your Beast Husbands, and our recap went up to chapter 67. Kisses and see you next time.